In the year 1602, the quaint little village of Salem, Massachusetts, became the backdrop for one of the most infamous episodes in American history. The Salem witch hunts were not just an expression of fear, they were a complex eruption of paranoia and power struggles that engulfed an entire community in chaos. Today, we unravel the forces at play behind these dark moments. The witch hunts began in the early months of 1600 as fear swept through the village with chilling swiftness. A group of young girls claimed to be possessed by the devil and began accusing local women of witchcraft. In an era already steeped in superstition and religious fervor, the villagers quickly succumbed to a wave of hysteria. The puritanical belief system at the time emphasized a literal interpretation of the Bible, including the existence of witches, which laid fertile ground for such panic to grow. But what set the Salem witch hunts apart was not merely the belief in the supernatural. This was a period marked by political turmoil and power struggles. Salem village was rife with internal conflicts, as disputes over property, religious practices, and local government leadership festered below the surface. Accusations of witchcraft became a convenient weapon in these disputes, allowing individuals to settle old scores under the guise of piety and divine justice. As the trials got underway, the power dynamics were starkly visible. The accused were often women, old and young, who stood at the peripheries of society. The widowed, the unmarried, the outspoken. They were easy targets in a patriarchal society that saw women as inherently more susceptible to sin. The accused were pressured to confess and implicate others, thereby spreading the frenzy like a contagion. The use of spectral evidence, or testimony based on dreams and visions, rendered the trials notoriously unfair. It seemed at the show anyone could be accused at any moment, with little means of defense. Fear was the real fuel of this inferno. The villagers were consumed by the thought that evil lurked in their midst, a psychological siege that blurred the lines between suspicion and certainty. The hysteria reached its peak when over 200 people were accused of practicing witchcraft. Of these, 19 were executed, and many others suffered in horrific conditions in the jails. In the end, the tide began to turn when Governor William Phips prohibited further arrests and dissolved the court of Oyer and Terminer, which had been responsible for the trials. Slowly, reason returned, facilitated by growing skepticism about the validity of spectral evidence. It took years for the damage to heal, and the community sought ways to atone, with some involved asking for public forgiveness. The Salem witch hunts stand as a somber lesson in how fear, unchecked, can lead to the unraveling of social order and justice. They remind us of the dangers of allowing paranoia and the thirst for power to override logic and humanity. Though centuries have passed, the shadows of Salem still serve as cautionary tales, urging vigilance against the encroachment of hysteria and the scapegoating of the vulnerable. Thus, as we reflect on these events, we are reminded of our duty to uphold justice, reason, and compassion, ensuring that history does not repeat its darkest chapters.